Family of Light by Barbara Marciniak. Chapter 9. The Gift the Gods Await. Throughout the course of our journey with you, we have made mention time and again of the ambiguous group of beings called the Ancestors, who, as you have learned, exist in all directions, through time, through the bloodline, and through dimensions as well. Your ancestral lineage is not only comprised of your DNA predecessors, you actually burst outward like a sun with many rays, touching multiple realities. And this is part of the expansion of consciousness you are now experiencing. The spirit world is vast, and untold numbers of beings can approach you through the invisible domains. In the Piscean age, the spiritual world was thought to be invisible, which does not mean it was non-existent, for your ancestors all experienced this force, although each perhaps in a different way. Now, without miracles, mysteries, and secrets, focus on the electromagnetic spectrum, your scientific interpretation of light frequencies. Imagine yourself right now expanding and shifting along the entire spectrum, as your ancestors did, jumping from one point to another. The expansion of consciousness you seek calls you to shift to a frequency similar to the mysterious beings of the invisible world. Perhaps when you learn where certain beings are located on the frequency bands, you can dial them up. Then you will rename and readdress the whole idea of religion on your planet. Your ancestors were not always able to express in words their experience of jumping from a 3D perspective into other frequencies and then returning, or that entities from other parts of the spectrum could jump into their reality. It happens both ways, of course. Old manuscripts, certainly the book you call the Bible, and various disputed texts never shown to the public, hold mysterious references and enigmatic tales of interventions from a long time past, of events that are inexplicable from your current 3D worldview. Though speculated about for eons, these events were not directly experienced by your historians. Therefore, those who charted the history began to create their own interpretations. And then there was always translations of translations of translations, in order to understand the invisible world of spirit. You are now challenged to look at your founding philosophies on educational belief systems, and to generously consider that the interpreters of these experiences did their very best. However, what were their goals to be doing their very best towards? On one level, the world management team now controls the flow of information to your world. So if you really want to know the truth, you must dig deeper and move around the politically correct belief systems that police your very thoughts. Questioning your own trust in the institutions of so-called higher knowledge. Your religions have always attempted to control the masses by explaining the unexplainable. And as we look at the Book of Earth, we see that you have needed this assurance. You like mentors and teachers, someone to take you under their wing, whom you can turn to in your innocence, inquiring about the higher mind and spirit, the great mysteries and what the impeccable walkers of spirit world understood. Actually, you are gifted with a mentor, so we ask you once again to consider your very own personal fiduciary, your higher self, your guardian angel, the one who will serve your interests and show you the way, the one you can trust, the still, quiet voice inside. As you expand your perceptions beyond the flat world consciousness, you will have to reconsider all of your beliefs. And even those of you who have already reconsidered so much of reality, you too will be asked to go further. You are all called now into the home of spirit, which has been here all along. You have always lived inside the house where mysteries reside and are held in trust as part of your great inheritance. You will soon discover that this invisible realm is indeed visible and tangible. As you experience your new lessons in living, trust that events and people you would not ordinarily look up for yourself are written in for you by the fiduciary, sometimes taking you through times of a sudden, shocking, and surprising change to face what you would seemingly never choose otherwise. Based on your greater understanding of the purpose of living, you will now realize that you do choose what you encounter at all times. And now it is becoming heightened in order to pioneer a new way of being for you. To have journeyed with the Pleiadians so far, you must consider yourself a pioneer, yes? Starseeds, lightworkers, and wayshowers thou art. Even though there are 8 billion gods now awakening to their godhood, the process first happens to a few, and then, like the sun's rays spreading over the horizon at sunrise, the energy gradually imbues everyone. It is time to climb upward now, to head toward the peaks of your own existence, where you already know that your destiny is to live, to experience, and to discover that Spirit never forgot you. Life is so preciously significant if you would just notice. A massively alive intelligence surrounds you in the ethers and encourages you to go further and further on this journey. Once you have acknowledged the swamplands of difficulty and faced your fears, a very high peak soon appears in the distance, a majestic mountain beckoning you forward. If you wonder how you will ever reach this exalted peak, it will be with one step at a time. You are traversing the swampland, and you are discovering the dark territories that have held what you have feared and thought you could not face. And by now, you know that it was not so terrible. The lessons in traveling through the dark lands are that the light of faith sustains you and will never go out. And now you have the opportunity to climb the great mountain ahead that offers, at its peak and at many points on the way up, a much grander vista and view of inner standing. Imagine, if you will, 8 billion human godlings awakening, all with ancestors most certainly connected to all of you, as if you were, each of you, the center of a wheel with 1,000,000 spokes. Everything in life is significantly connected. The mountain that beckons you to climb its peak, you do not climb alone. You can only climb together. You and all of your multi-dimensional selves, too. At this point in your life, the thrust of energy is designed to take you into the home of spirit, where you will reflect upon your experiences and get a glimpse of your purpose for living. The vibration of unshakable faith is your golden key to pass through the dark territories. All beings must go through their own darkness. Use it to take the dark energy in need of love and healing to the peak of the mountain with you. Take a fractal of this darkness with you, that you love unconditionally and forgive unconditionally. Put it in your little heart pocket and bring it with you to the top of the mountain. This act of internal balance is, in essence, a spiritual quest and connects you to the gods, as if they had sent you a telegram saying, "You are called to our home now. Come and bring us the tales of your feats, for you have journeyed far in your reinterpretations of living. We would be glad to hear of what you know and what you seek at this point of your initiation. Bring the fractals of your fears for us to heal them permanently together." You are, dear friends, in a global initiation of realization, and once you have been initiated, you will then go on to show the way, to teach about the new territory of thought you have pioneered. However, right now you are still climbing towards the peak one step at a time. Your life is interconnected to the lives of every other human being, yet because you experience so little of the electromagnetic band of existence, you do not always understand the multiplicity of your dramas, which can appear to be isolated and disconnected. Remember, educational systems have been based on isolation and disconnection. Isolation from yourselves and disconnection from all others. Integrating and uniting with your own mental body, your physical body, your spiritual body, and your emotional body will connect you to the home of spirit. Be aware that the players in your dramas also experience something similar. All your 3D experiences offer a unique opportunity. Your connections to all of the people in your life, and the lessons in living and the dramas they are currently experiencing with you are parallel to yours to some degree. However, what you experience in 3D also ripples outwards into all other dimensions. You are a focal point in time because of Earth's destiny and what is occurring here. We sometimes call it the big cosmic show, that fleeting moment of time of 50 years between 1987 and 2037, where you move from the deepest of density and darkness to the highest of frequencies of light, and where you extend from 3D living to span the full multi-dimensional band. Another unique ability of yours is that you can manifest in a very profound way what the unawakened as of yet cannot. You are alive in an extremely dense timeline of existence, yet you are continuously flooded with the energy of the higher frequencies, which are based on instantaneous thought. Now, higher frequency does not imply something better. It is more like a reference point, similar to the way notes on a musical scale are used for describing vibrations of sound frequencies. In the same way, the color green is not better than the color yellow, or worse than the color blue. The lower the frequency, the less rapid the vibration of information, and this occurs within a timeline as well. However, when you start to vibrate more rapidly in the 3D world, you can span many realities and access great healing abilities from within. In general, you do not live for a great expanse of time, usually at best 10 decades. However, your ancestors lived for thousands of years, as written in some of the old books. Your ancestors, no matter which way you traced them, came from the stars. Even more than that, no matter which way you trace them, you will discover that your ancestors were reptilian. In addition, there are other numerous forms of star beings who parade in and out of the laboratory, offering their protocols and prospectus and DNA for the mixing and matching and new creations of humanity. Remember, you can be adjusted and altered by vibrations too, because everything is vibration. And in 3D, your lives are currently challenged by the use of mind control through technologies that can influence many areas of your lives. You must also take note that other entities, whom you cannot see, affect you through frequency modulation from their dimension, tuning frequencies that adjust to you on a cellular level. Comets, for example, and the sun, and the moon, and other planets, and other stars, all hold frequencies that modulate you in a particular way, affecting the expression of your DNA in the cells of your body and the rate at which you grow in awareness. One thing to be aware of is that you live on Goddess Gaia, and she is married to the sun god Ra Sol Kin Ahau. All planets and all stars are alive, and they all affect you. The purpose of life is to grow, to expand, and evolve. And actually, you cannot not evolve. The only thing that slows it down is fear. And whatever your fears happen to be, it's your own personal form of the dark. One collective global fear is that of being in charge of oneself. So you give others your power of decision-making very easily. And in their need to live up to your expectations, they have chosen a dark, dark practice of power. This is part of the hidden wounds that you all need to heal, and that you may carry with you up the mountain. The mother wound, the father wound, the wound of separation. It's all one wound. In one way or another, you are seeing a family member, a friend, or yourself challenged to heal the wound of human spirit. A wound that ripples throughout time and deep within the human psyche. A wound truly about separation and isolation from what you call God. Contemplate this thought for a moment. You can never be separated from God. Everything that exists is God. With this knowledge that we share, support yourself and your loved ones as you heal the wounds of the human psyche. Be encouraged to learn from their wounds as they mirror your own life back to you. Be encouraged to share the healing of your own wounds with others, so that others may heal theirs too. If you use the knowledge as a reflection on living and where the seasons of change can take you, you will find the hidden message and meaning of the collective human wound. You will take this realization to the highest places you can, and then finding opportunities along the way and on the many peaks on the way to the top, you will return to bring your insight and knowledge into the valleys where most humans still dwell. You will shine your light, and you will encourage them to climb the mountain themselves. And then the journey continues, for you are light workers, you are way showers. You are the star seeds from many realms of frequencies. The ability to transmute fear into love by finding the significant purpose of it on a personal and a communal and a global and a galactic and an intergalactic and a multi-dimensional level is another lesson you are here to learn. The gods, those who jumped the electromagnetic spectrum and left footprints of an enigmatic nature in your world, are waiting for something from you and are not even necessarily aware of it. Although in your spiritual childhood you consider these beings as all-knowing and omniscient, you must realize that they are not so different from you. Yet they have their own unique perspective on existence. The home of the gods is not necessarily a place where all-knowingness and benevolence exist. It is not as miraculous as you may think. Theirs is a different science, one you have yet to discover. Your science is based on demonstrability and repetition, on a conglomeration of theories and facts that, if experientially replicated time and time again, become foundational principles. Many scientists on your world, Mendel, for example, with his genetic discoveries, or Kepler with his astronomy and astrology studies, have pioneered new interpretations of reality. Today, scientists young and old will be awed and humbled by the massive reinterpretation of reality that is unfolding right now. You will find that the closer you are to the end of the fleeting moment, your lessons about reality mirroring itself, and that the part cannot be separated from the whole, will drastically accelerate. Theory upon theory, premise upon premise, and foundation upon radical foundation will be flipped over and discarded. And new ideas will continuously appear, simultaneously transmitted globally, so that all of you can catch them all at once, as you are all discoverers on the same points of light. It is wise to question where these transmissions come from. The gods, as we said, laid down their supply lines and stored their stuff and hid their secrets inside your DNA. A cache of materials they would need while under siege or while stranded in time. In many ways, the gods are trapped right now and do not know how to move beyond where they are. They experience multidimensional aspects of reality that is far more expansive than your minds are capable of experiencing at this time. They jump timelines and traverse existences with the flip of an internal switch and can appear as humans, a leader of a country, a movie star, a superstar, athlete, from any and all walks of life. Yet they do not have the imprinting of a birth resulting from sexual union. The amalgamation of the four bodies of the physical, the spiritual, the emotional, and the thinking bodies that creates all of your lives. This fusion of the four bodies creates a frequency that welcomes in new life and allows you to experience a band of existence, a perspective or a point of view that can never be attained without sexual coupling. We offer you a reflection of who you are so you can create new probabilities in the Book of Earth. Probabilities based on exalted learning where you transcend limited thinking, turning your lessons into gems of living. You were born and created to experience the full spectrum of frequencies, from the most dense to the most high. And the gods knew this in their application of experience and ideal wisdom when they created you. The gods live long, very long lives, and sometimes they live with their lessons, their fears, their pain, and with repetitions of cycles much longer than you can even imagine. You may appear to live with greater angst and emotional dramas. However, many of the beings you call gods exist in a longevity of time that is immense. Some have become prisoners in their own minds. Prisoners of pain are some of your ancient gods. Various forms of intelligent entities will appear on your multidimensional horizons as the development of your psychic senses allows you to access the paranormal experiences and otherworldly domains. These extraterrestrials are connected to you, and not only do you broadcast to them, they also send messages back to you. The fractals of fear that you carry to the high peak in your heart pocket has much more meaning than you could possibly understand. Whatever meanings you hold today are fine, and yet the meanings will grow in significance and grow in time, backward and forward. You carry out a task for many multidimensional beings other than yourselves, and they send you solutions through your fiduciaries that they themselves cannot execute because, in their versions of reality, change to the degree that is required now is not as easy for them as it is for you. You are the agents of change, the boots on the ground, and the ability to change and transmute your lives is yours again and again to marvel over as you proclaim how well events unfold when you embrace unshakable faith and learn your lessons in living. There are no bad lessons. Yet, because you are afraid to fully embrace the dark, you turn what you fear and don't understand into deeper levels of darkness. Many humans stay in the swamplands for dozens and dozens of lifetimes because they do not have the courage, because of all of the fear they carry, to climb the mountain. And now it is time to transmute this fear into love for yourselves and for all of humankind, and most essentially for your reptilian creator gods whose wounds, like yours, go very, very deep. Everything that exists is imbued with information and knowledge, and you are part of a huge hologram where one small fragment of anything actually contains the whole. And so you must learn to access the part and then understand that the part cannot be separated from the whole. Over the next number of years, greater parts of the story of existence will appear as pieces of the puzzle. Pay close attention, because as each step takes you farther up the mountain, each new discovery will be a thread brought forth from earth and the heavens, from memories on the corridors of timelines, weaving significant tales about the majesty of your lineage. The reptilian creator gods stashed their greatest victory and aspiration strands in you, knowing that when reality shut down and the potential gridlock occurred, you had been given the keys to unlock realities, timelines, and dimensions. Yes, these are lofty concepts, yet this is the quest you are on, which takes place from moment to moment in the privacy and significance of your mind. So breathe deep and look around, both inside you at everything you can see, shining your light, and outside you, knowing you are called upon to expand your worldview and to sit comfortably in the home of spirit and share what you know with your fellow starseeds. To hear and to see without judgment whatsoever, and to share the experience of what the world is like from other points of view as we all climb these peaks of existence. Those of you who are mountain climbers and advanced hikers know that when you reach the top of a mountain, the energies and the air are rarefied, and often great clarity instantaneously arises. Mountain climbers and hikers sometimes carry burdens or problems on their backs, along with their backpacks. And when they get to the top of the mountain and take off their backpacks, they suddenly have a solution. Mountains serve as huge antennas reaching up into the atmosphere, constructed of crystalline rock. Remember, your atmosphere is imprinted with life and living intelligent information. And so you climb the mountains to breathe that most precious air and to clear your head and to reach the peak where all existence can be seen. Can all humans be traced to one ancestor? Is there such a being? Some of your stories on Earth seem to imply as much, although there were certainly primary gods and secondary gods and tertiary gods in those laboratories. In ancient times, the ancestors knew that these gods battled in the heavens and appeared periodically in their ships of light, causing shakings and thunderings of the earth. Humans were obviously afraid of these gods, and sometimes they knew when they were coming and prepared the best they could. Huge underground structures were built long ago. Tunnels in cities in South America, in Asia Minor, and in China. All over your globe are yet to be discovered underground dwellings that housed many, many people, even whole civilizations. This should give you something to ponder. Why would your ancestors build cities underground? What beings periodically visited the planet, leaving their tracks and trails in every legend and mythology, using myriad names and appearances and cavorting in different capacities? The legends appear to be similar from continent to continent and age to age. These visitors literally exist in another dimension and periodically intercede in yours. And when they are invisible, it simply means that you do not see them, yet they are still there, and they can still influence your choices. As you climb, you will see that there are other peaks, and you will view the home of the spirit and the gods with your newfound clarity, eventually realizing that the gods and their families are very vast. In your myths of a single god, you have confused your god with the singularity of the force of love, the unified field that connects you and everything else to experience existence. Yes, you are all part of a presence, a hologram of omniscient knowing. Some call it God-sciousness. The field of love that is in every frequency spectrum, in every dimension, in every universe. In essence, this field of love is both the ultimate source from which everything originates and to which everything returns. And it creates realities in every possible way. In your quest for a single God, you have interpreted to the best of your ability the phenomena of UFOs and UAPs and the intercession of the spirit world. Actually, forces from everywhere send you energies and often entities, and although sometimes they trick you, they also help you climb the mountain to view the greater vista of existence. How you respond is part of your living and the lessons you learn from one time to another. And how you respond determines the next visit you get. An immense mountain, a singular peak rising from the swamps, awaits you inside your mind. From the top of this mountain, the highest some of you will ever climb, you will see a vast expanse of mountain ranges and peaks that go on and on. You may then realize there is no one mountain or one God, of course. You do not have to climb every peak out there. In fact, you cannot. And yet, by climbing one, you can begin to see more, reconsidering what else is out there, waving to your holy holograms on those other peaks. When you reconsider your beliefs, your knowledge and purpose in living expands. Reflect on your life and honor every experience and every relationship you have ever had. Recall your mystical experiences and rejoice in them. Recall your fear-based experiences and love them. Do not hide your mystical experiences because you're afraid of being labeled crazy or insane. You are now challenged to bring those mysterious mystical experiences back to the home of spirit on your planet, because this is what is missing. The gods await your announcement that you have re-engaged the shamanic interdimensional realm. They know you hold the solutions that have been there all along, and that the frequency of love that you can create is the ultimate healing source for all of your fear-based experiences and relationships. Truly, dear souls, like no other species in existence, you have been gifted with this capacity for unconditional love that has always been there as a potential. Many of you seek to increase your potential, to raise your vibrations, which may include both mental and physical stamina. Yet above all, we ask you to seek out your potential to produce unconditional love and unconditional forgiveness. This is the gift stored within you that the gods await. They made mistakes. They need you to forgive them. This closes the circle. We must forgive our creators. They did their best. We're doing our best. This is the gift stored within us. How each one of us brings that unconditional love forward is individual. There are as many ways and varieties as there are plants and flowers and birds and bees and trees and 8 billion humanoid godlings. And yet it's all one unconditional love. It is important to understand that the act of transmutation from fear into love that you are called upon to experience is an act of divine love intended to heal all dimensions of existence. Time jumpers and your ancestors alike will send you bits of knowledge because your now is woven into theirs. However, you are the head weaver of the threads of the timelines, the one who is to decide which thread goes where, the one who checks the design to make certain that the pattern stays balanced and includes everything and everyone. Your ancestors often left their keys of knowledge in the patterns of fabrics that they wore, and in the weavings of rugs, and in the paintings on the ceilings, and other beautiful pieces of art and jewelry. Yet if you were to study them and discover the truth, you would find they contain hidden codes and meanings still yet to be deciphered, passed down through the timelines from other dimensions. Visit a museum or a place where artifacts are gathered. Look at them and imagine their timeless functions being reinterpreted. Perhaps the masks and statues, the tools and utensils, the dolls, the weapons, and everything else you see are now coming alive again, activated and ready to tell you a very different story than the one that speaks predominantly in your history textbooks. We ask you to look in every nook and cranny and open your hearts and mind to the idea that a completely different story of humanity waits to be interpreted by you. As Pleiadian star-seated time travelers, when we enter your world seeking to discover more of who we are, we do so knowing that reality exists as a mirror, and that no single part can be separated from the whole. This cosmic truth seems to tell us, if the part cannot be separated from the whole, and reality mirrors itself, eventually everything becomes united and reaches a stage of complete self-awareness. Your theories about the formation of existence include the movements of a great expansion called the Big Bang, but this must therefore include a great contraction we like to call the Big Shrink. In fact, you continuously experience these movements from moment to moment in your life as you breathe. You breathe in the vital force. You fill your lungs and then empty them. Even though most of you breathe unconsciously, most of the time the message is still intact. Expand and contract. Expand and contract. Since you need both actions to live and to experience the fullness of existence, your job as family of light is to weave all the pieces together, to consider all actions, and when you experience an uncomfortable area, realize it is time to reassess your beliefs and assumptions about reality and to see them again in a completely new light of unconditional love, unconditional forgiveness, and unconditional trust. The changes that are occurring in your world, changes of political administration, are always accompanied by a bit of scuffling, and your gods have certainly left such tales in your history books as well. It's true that galactic battles have occurred, and Earth became a sanctuary to some, a place where they have fled from great battles. Science fiction novels and movies about space travel, stories of the battles of light and dark, are part of your cellular memory that you are learning to understand and address. You will eventually discover an influence that is vast. So vast it will seem impossible for your mortal third-dimensional mind to fathom. Just as a mere 5 decades ago, numbers in the billions were hard for you to imagine. You will eventually become accustomed to and feel at home with the vastness of the spiritual domain. It is comparable to starting off with a simple computer program and then signing on for the first time to the internet. This aha experience will happen inside your minds. These times propel you to create new neurological pathways in your being. And what seems at first to be too much stimulation eventually becomes manageable with calm and focused breathing. Trust, dear soul, unconditionally that every species goes through a similar process of an expansion of consciousness when, and only when, it is their time. It's your time now. In many ancient stories, the gods fought their battles over who would be in charge of humanity, and many mother and father gods mated with their humans. These offspring created the demigods and extended the hierarchies. Often your ancestors built pyramids to delineate the levels of families of existence under whose influence they were subjected. Pyramids around the globe were decorated with symbols of serpents and stars and moons and suns and disks, all of which hold significant keys to your understanding of the vast intelligences who, at different times, have influenced you in different ways. The Mayan pyramids and calendars transmit messages that are unlike any other on Earth, by the way. And we remind you once again that just because you cannot see the gods, and they do not appear standing before you, does not mean that we are not here. In our own dimensions, affect you through the spectrums, an idea, passing ideas into your dreams, for example. The standards of your living are an essential part of the frequency you broadcast to all those connected to you. And we say once again that it is essential for you to influence your multidimensional selves by putting your frequency into the ethers. Your ancestors are relying upon you to do so because their wounds are ancient and need to be healed. They receive the transmission of unconditional love that it is time to heal their wounds now. We have already suggested that the frequency of love is the common frequency of which everything is composed, and that humans produce love in a very unique way. In the making of a very fine wine, for example, special grapes are grown on select land, and in specific cyclical season where all conditions are ideal, these grapes for making the most exquisite wine are cherished and harvested. You, humanity, all of you are these grapes whose season has come on a sequestered hillside, prepared and loved in this season of change to produce the most exquisite of elixirs and essences. Your human version of unconditional love at its finest is awaited, and even though it may seem to be a small crop at the moment, a minor vintage, so to speak, when you produce your finest and allow it to spread, in the greater book of existence, it ripples outward beyond your now, affecting the whole of everything. Everything is frequency, and it only takes a little shift in frequency to affect all other frequencies. So, as the vibrational frequency beings that you are, as you become more aware, as you transmute fear into love and expand your consciousness, you enter the home of spirit as people who lead people to lead themselves to love. Because the gods influence you, the energies of their unresolved family dramas are transferred as frequency to your world. You may say, "Are family fights not natural?" Yes, it is true, there are disagreements and arguments within families, earthly and non-earthly. However, violence is no longer necessary. Violence is the opposite of love and creates divide and conquer syndrome through separation and isolation and perpetuation of fear. The wounds of the gods, the wounds of separation, of fear, and of terror, of being alone and not knowing how to deal with it, are no greater than your own. They just have existed for much longer and have affected more entities. In their own arrogance, the gods have been so immersed in their power and their dramas that they are unable to step back and reflect upon what they have created. You see, empathy, the ability to feel for others and themselves, is unknown to these gods. And for you, it is one of your greatest qualities. Raising your frequency and vibration and producing your version of the vibration of love is based upon your ability to feel deep pain and transmute it, to feel fear and to embrace it and transmute it, to acknowledge anxiety and discordance and confusion and chaos, and to go into those feelings, survive them, and find peace within yourself once again. You will use this ability to recreate peace within yourself and in your life, to resolve all situations that could possibly occur. Many entities, and in fact your creator gods, await your courage to carry on with these momentous tasks, which you thought you carried alone as your own private fears, when in actuality your fears are manifestations of the great separations and wounds of the illusion that the gods held about themselves. Now, knowing all of this, and that the book of earth is connected to the book of all existence, perhaps you will walk a little lighter as you climb. straightening your shoulders and breathing deeper into your sacred body than you ever have, and saying, is this what's going on? Now that I know that the quest for myself is actually a quest for all of existence, then of course I shall do it. I must. It is my sacred duty. Remember that you have free will in each moment to create a unique and brand new version of existence. Yet those moments are also overlaid in time and can be looked at backwards and forward as if they were solid events having already occurred. Your free will can only be freely willed by you. Of course, destiny and fate exist. Yet some destinies are ignored and never chosen, and every moment holds the potential for you to think of a new option, to receive a unique idea in the fleeting moment of time. Using your will, entwined with knowing that you live an incredibly significant life, allows you to translate your experience into cosmic wisdom. The gods believe that they have held the truth for eons, as do the world management team and the family of Dark. Actually, all of their truths are very partially true. New philosophies and new beliefs, completely unlike anything that has ever been conceived, have been birthed. We Pleiadians do our best to name and describe what is occurring, nudging you in certain directions, shining lights over there for you to look. Over there, head that way. But we can barely scratch the surface with our descriptions of where you are actually headed, and like your ancestors, our words cannot actually describe the realms that await you. Yet our words deliver a resonance and a vibration and a hidden rhythm, like a drum, like a plan within a plan. No matter where you find yourself at this very moment, know that one of the greatest truths of all is that everything is connected and everything is love. Unconditional love is so unconditional that it even allows for fear to exist. Give up your sense of isolation. Give up your illusion of fear, discovering that no part can be separated from the whole, and that the whole is unconditional love. For simply by knowing this, you become part of the divine plan, and you will see plans within plans within plans. No force of existence can ever implement its plan without other options existing from which to choose. In order to transmute an existing plan and participate from a higher place of awareness, you need only remember that you are sacred, holy, and divine, and you can never die. Imagine the entire world and all of humanity knowing this. Imagine the whole of humanity awakening to the fact and the knowledge and the wisdom that we are all holy holograms, sacred fractals and divine sparks of God-sciousness, which is unconditional love, unconditional forgiveness, and unconditional trust that everything is perfect. Everything.